welcome. I'm Melinda Kimami. Tonight, NJC asks suspended Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onnoghen, to respond to fresh petition against him by the EFCC. Sets up panel to consider responses to petitions against him and acting CJN, Ibrahim Mohammed. Drama at APC campaign rally in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, as party supporters vent their anger over APC's choice of governorship candidate in the state. PDP presidential campaign trail hits Rivers State. Party's flag bearer, Atiku Abubakar, appeals to Nigerians to vote out any leader who instigates violence in the country. And UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres hails Africa as a continent of hope despite current challenges.
On business news tonight, Department of Petroleum Resources recovers over 1.2 trillion naira as royalties accrue to the federal government from the oil and gas sector.
And on sports news tonight, Manchester United manager eager for his biggest test as they host PSG at the UEFA Champions League round of 16 fixture at Old Trafford.
And from Abuja, INEC announces readiness to conduct free, fair and credible elections as the Commission's chairman meets with observers from the Commonwealth Observer Group.
It appears there may be more trouble for the suspended Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onnoghen, as the National Judicial Council has asked him to respond to a fresh petition against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The Council took the decision at the end of its emergency meeting in Abuja today, as it also formed the Preliminary Complaints Assessment Committee to consider responses to both Justice Onnoghen and the acting CJN, Justice Ibrahim Mohammed, to various petitions against them. The statement also adds that the NJC would reconvene on Wednesday, that's February the 13th, to take a final decision on the fate of Justices Onnoghen and Mohammed. Mr. Onnoghen was suspended on January the 25th, that's 11 days after his trial over alleged false asset declaration began at the Code of Conduct Tribunal on January the 14th. The embattled former CJN had also failed to secure a court ruling to stop his trial by the Code of Conduct Bureau last week. The Supreme Court will give judgment on an appeal filed by the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State on Tuesday. It's challenging the ruling of the Federal High Court in Port Harcourt, which set aside the two primaries conducted by two factions of the party in the state. Justice Bode Rhodes fixed a date for the judgment after taking arguments from both counsels. Counsel to the APC asked the APED court to nullify the judgment of the Federal High Court on the ground that the trial court had no jurisdiction when it entertained the suit.
The Supreme Court has been inundated with appeals surrounding the representation for the All Progressive Congress in Rivers State in the forthcoming election. In one of the cases, the APC is challenging the judgment of Justice Chiwendu, which declared the primaries conducted by the APC as a nullity. While addressing the court, counsel to the APC, Mr. Lateef Fagbemi, urged the Supreme Court to nullify the judgment of the High Court in Port Harcourt. He also claimed that since the trial court had no jurisdiction, its judgment in the matter amounts to a nullity and should be set aside. Mr. Fagbemi specifically asked the Supreme Court to evoke Section 22 of the Supreme Courts Act and give a final judgment in the matter. In his response, counsel to the respondent, Mr. Henry Bello, urged the Apex Court to dismiss the appeal of the APC on the grounds that it had become a mere academic exercise. He argued that by the decision of the Apex Court on February 8, 2019, which upheld the decision of the High Court in Port Harcourt, which barred APC from conducting any primary election, the case of the APC had died and should be buried. Mr. Bello argued that the respondent, led by Mr. Ibrahim Umar, who were aggrieved by the violation of the Electoral Act and the 1999 Constitution in the manner the APC conducted pre-election matters in Rivers State, had secured a constant judgment in their favor, and such a judgment should stand.
The second appeal, arguments were taken regarding plenary objection. The court rules to consider a decision. Later, the court decided that we should go into the main appeal, since the briefs of argument had been exchanged. That is, appeal constituted in Appeal SC 1333 of 2018, APC against Ibrahim Umar and others. It has now been reserved for judgment. By the grace of God, judgment.
Beside the judgment to be delivered by the court, there are 3 other appeals before the Supreme Court emanating from the APC primary elections in River State. Whether the judgment will have any effect on those cases and the participation of River State APC in the general elections remains to be seen. Amaka Okafor, Channels Television News.
The Supreme Court has struck out one of the appeals challenging the ruling of the Port Harcourt Division of the Court of Appeal, which considered the order of the Independent National Electoral Commission to stay the execution of judgment of the Federal High Court, barring the party from fielding candidates for the forthcoming general election. The Supreme Court, in a unanimous judgment ruled by Justice Bode Rhodes-Viver, dismissed the appeal. The Apex Court agreed with submissions of the counsel to the APC, that's Lateef Fagbemi, that documents attached to the notice of appeal were not properly certified by the Court of Appeal. It equally agreed that the record of appeal was compiled by the counsel to the appellant, that's Mr. Henry Bello, instead of the registrar of the court. The court has, however, ordered parties to go back to the Court of Appeal and hear the substantive appeal on merit. However, the counsel to the appellant told journalists that the suit will be filed again.
Today, the Supreme Court had the opportunity to hear 5 appeals regarding the governorship, National Assembly and State Assembly elections in Rivers State for 2019 concerning APC. One of the appeals was struck out because the record of proceedings was not properly certified. That will be refiled. We have been given instructions to refile it, and before the week runs out, the appeal will be refiled.
A federal high court sitting in Calabar, Cross River State, has sacked Senator John Onnoghen as the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress in the state. The court also sacked the factional leadership of the party under Mr. John Ochala, which is loyal to the senator. Now, apart from removing Senator Onnoghen and Mr. Ochala, the court rejected other candidates of the party currently recognized by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. In a 2-hour judgment, Justice Simon Amobeda ordered that Mr. Usani be recognized as the legitimate candidate of the party. He also ordered that INEC should only receive and accept the names and candidates for the 2019 elections that emerged from the lawful executive led by Mr. Godwin Etim John. Justice Amobeda also ordered that the persons parading themselves as the executive members of the APC in the state should forthwith cease to do so, ruling that the lawful executive of the APC in Cross River State remains that which is being led by Mr. Etim John. From legal matters, let's talk politics now. There's been a mild drama at the All Progressives Congress presidential campaign rally in Ogun State today as President Muhammadu Buhari's campaign turned rowdy. Supporters of the Allied People's Movement in the state, which adopted the president as their candidate, were also at the rally.
The chopper of President Muhammadu Buhari touches down in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, as he continues his campaign tour around the country. His convoy is off to the MKO Abiola Stadium, where thousands of residents have been waiting since the morning hours.
Ogun is on fire!
It seems a mixed crowd, as the placard on display is of the All Progressives Congress and the Allied People's Movement, the party which the state governor Ibikunle Amosu is supporting for governorship.
So, the governor of Ogun State will now talk to us.
The governor spent some time calming the nerves of the supporters before he can speak on the reason for the gathering.
Please, let all of us swallow our pride. Let us subdue our anger. Please, you know this state is for President Muhammadu Buhari. We don't want them to go with an erroneous impression that this place is not for President Muhammadu Buhari. So, I want to appeal to all of you. I want to appeal to all of you. When it concerns President Muhammadu Buhari, you know all of us in Ogun State are for him.
Former Governor of Osun State, Ralph Aregbesola, takes to the podium or hits a sensitive nerve of the crowd. It grows even worse when the APC National Chairman, Adams Oshiomhole, attempts to make his speech.
The APC governorship candidate, Prince Dapo Abiodun.
Even the president could barely get to the end of his speech.
To come out next Saturday and on the 2nd of March and choose whoever you like across the parties. This is your right. This is your right. So there's no problem about it.
It's a calmer setting at the June 12 Cultural Center at the meeting with the traditional rulers. Speaking on behalf of the Traditional Council, the chairman, Adedotun Gbadebo, outlines the areas which Ogun State has benefited from the present administration and areas where there are still needs.
While thanking you for bringing the Navy presence to Tongeji Island, we will still request that a land bridge be built to link that island with the rest of Nigeria. Otherwise, we may lose the oil-rich territory to our neighbor, the Republic of Benin.
The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, is next, and his aim is to convince everyone on the reason for the administration's focus on the fight against corruption.
Our country is not short of money or short of ideas. It is short of men of character who can truly use the resources in a manner to benefit the majority of our people.
The president further elaborates the achievement of his administration and why he should be given a second term.
The last 3 rainy seasons were good. People went back to the land and nobody regrets it. We are now virtually have achieved food security. We thank God for that. What the effort the government has made is to make fertilizer and other inputs available at half the price it used to be and made it available throughout the country.
The presidential train of the APC moves from Ogun State to other parts of the country as Nigerians count down to February 16th.
And before President Buhari went to Abeokuta, his campaign trail had stopped in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, where he reiterated the commitment of his administration to continue to fight corruption, no matter the criticism from the opposition. The president told his supporters that the agenda of his administration in the area of economy, security and fighting corruption will be revived. On his part, the national chairman of the party, Comrade Adams Oshiomhole, gave the assurance that the election would be peaceful and devoid of any violence. In part 2, after the break, Nigerians expressed frustration with permanent voter cards collection process as exercise ends today. Join us again.